How's it going, everyone? GSpace64 here, coming at you right before the video starts, just to remind you that memberships are now live on my channel. If you become a member today, you get access to an exclusive Discord, and you get access to some videos up to 2 whole days early. If you like it, why not consider subscribing? I'd appreciate it. That being said, hope you enjoy the video. Hello everybody, I'm your host, GSpace64. Welcome to this series totally not inspired and stolen from MBT, called Break the Build, where I show you a deck in Master Duel, and we try our best for you to break it. So, what wonderful deck did we bring today? Codetalkers, played by Yusaku in the VRAINS anime. It is a wonderful deck I think would be loved to be broken. So, we're going to go into the card by card. One of the main things you may notice right out of the gate is, yes, this is a 50 card deck. You have a lot of means to search and have lots of extenders in this deck. So, there are a few cards that we want to keep on the field, and we have a lot of ways to get to that card, so that way we can constantly just draw and draw. And we have cards that protect those other cards, good for going first or second, so that way we can really adapt our strategy to as we go. If we're going first, we may want to try and get in our traps, such as Cynet Conflict, which we can search throughout the combo, or Solemn Judgment, which hopefully is a good starting hand in our starting hand. Same with Ice Dragon's Prison, it is a really good one to keep us protected. Additionally, we also have our going second tools of Lightning Storms and a Raigeki, and our Triple Tactics talent. A lot of these cards you can get fairly easily from the Legacy polls, but some of them are a little on the pricey side, so keep that in mind when making this deck. But the other good news about those cards, such as Ice Dragons and Solemn Judgment, and Max C and Ash Blossom, they are the dual monster tax, and they can be put in tons of other decks. So, let's get into the card by card, shall we? Starting off, Dotscaper. Dotscaper is this wonderful card that if it's sent to the graveyard in any means, it can special summon itself. It's great as a normal summon with a Codetalker main monster in hand, or as a wonderful send off of Code Generator. Usually we will not be getting into the banish effect of Dotscaper, because we don't really have a means to banish it, but it's a wonderful extender to have, and usually can get us into a wonderful situation. Microcoder, must have 3 of in our deck. If a Cyberse monster you control would be uses link material for a Codetalker monster, this card can be used in your hand. Additionally, if this card is sent to the graveyard for the link summon of a Codetalker monster, you can add a Cynet spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Or, if this card was used as material on the field, you can add a level 4 Cyberse. You probably won't be using the level 4 Cyberse effect very often, but the effect to add a Cynet spell or trap is an enabler to start our combo. A lot of the time, Microcoder will get us into Cynet Codec, which is our main search spell of the deck. It allows us to get that, and if Cynet Codec's already on the field, then Microcoder can go ahead and get us our Cynet Conflict, which is our protection. It's basically it's a Solemn Judgment that you don't have to pay. Just so long as you control Codetalker, you can activate your Cynet Conflict. It's pretty good. A Cyberse Synchron. Now this one is a bit of a weird addition into your deck. It's a good one to have in the graveyard. It's another decent one to send with Generator if you've already used the Dotscaper, or it's also a decent normal summon. And the main reason I say that is, although we aren't playing any synchro monsters, if this card's in your graveyard, if a monster you would control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card instead. So usually our monsters that are already kind of sticky to deal with are Codetalker and our Codetalker on our turn 1 plays, this makes it a little more sticky and harder to deal with them, which is really helpful to have. Maxi is our Master Dual Tax. Link Infoflyer is just a special summon if you control a Link monster. Another extender, nice to have. Nightmare Corruptor Lib, you only want 1 of because you can search it, and it's also really not that good to have 3 of it. What a Lib does is if this card was used as a Link summon, and it was normal summon, or I'd say if this card was normal summon, you could target 1 Link monster in your graveyard and special summon to the field. As long as it points to Nightmare Corruptor. It changes attack to 0 and negates the effect, and you can't summon anything else but Link monsters while she's on your field. But you can also use her to lock your opponent, because if she's used for Link material, she gets special summoned to your opponent's field in defense position, forcing them to only be able to play Links, so they have to waste their battle phase on getting rid of her or linking her off. Ash Blossom is Ash Blossom. Backup Secretary is another extender. If we control any Cyberse monster, special summon this card from your hand. Code Generator, another one of our code monsters. If a Cyberse monster you control will be used as Link material for a Codetalker monster, this card can be used in hand. Most of the time you're going to be using the in-hand effect, which will send a monster to the graveyard, either our Dotscaper or our Cyberse Synchron, and so on and so forth. It's really just another extender for the Codetalkers, similar with Exporter, and it being a certain type helps us being able to search it later to help combo off with Cynet Codec. Launcher Commander is a bit of a interesting inclusion, but it's a decent normal summon if you have nothing else. And it also can be searched off of Codec when we don't have another thing. On top of this, it does help for pushing for OTK potential, just by giving all other Cyberse monsters you control 300 attack and defense. Is it admittedly card you can cut? Yes. But is it a decent normal summon for the deck? Also yes. Balancer Lord. Only playing 1 of, and he is a pivotal extender normal summon. Once per turn, you can pay, if we can get him on the field, we can pay 1,000 life points, and we can additional summon 1 normal Cyberse, or summon a normal, not a normal, just summon an additional Cyberse monster. Pretty good. Lady Debug, 3 of it, because it is also a searcher for our microcoder, which will get us to Codec. When she's normal special summon, you can add 1 level 3 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. Pretty simple. She's very nice to have. Code Radiator is another extender. He's not a very good one, though, but he is an extender that can be used in the hand. That's why we're only playing 1 of him. And he can also be searched off of the summon of Shooting Codetalker with Cynet Codec on the field. A lot of the time you aren't going into Shooting Code, but Shooting Code is a niche battle option. So Code Radiator is a decent one to have, just that way you have the search, and he's a decent extender. He also turns monsters' attacks to 0 when he's used as a Link summon for a Codetalker monster. 1 if he's in hand, 2 if he's on field. It's alright. Mathmech Sigma, once again, another extender. If you control no cards in your extra deck, well, this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon it. A lot of the time, you're going to start your Links, and you begin to move your Links out of the extra monster zone. Sigma, then, is a good extender for that. He can also be searched off of Cynet Codec. Any of our Cyberse monsters can be searched off of Cynet Codec, so long as we have the correct attribute of Codetalker on the field. Really good to have. He can get you out of a lot of situations, and he's also good for helping us go into Light Dragon at Ignister. Mathmech Edition, admittedly, cannot be searched in this version of the deck because we are not playing the Fire version of Codetalker, and that's mainly because there is no Oversoul, so we can't bring him into the deck. If otherwise, I would absolutely play Oversoul if I could, but he is a good extender, and he can also help you push for OTKs when he's in the hand. Bit of a niche card, but always nice to have. Code Exporter, once again, similar to all the other Codetalker monsters, can be used as material in the hand, and if he is used, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So basically, you can get plays for your next turn, basically have a board build up for next turn. 3 Parallel Exceed. Parallel Exceed can special summon itself by going to a link arrow and then special summon another one. Really good for getting a light dragon at Ignister or just for a combo extender in general. And then finally, Gachiri at Ignister. He's a good extender as well. It can be searched off of Cynet Conflict or Cynet Codec, and can also protect some of your monsters from being destroyed. Pretty good for helping your monster stay a little extra sticky if needed. Raigeki and the two Lightning Storms basically do the same purpose, but Raigeki is a free one where Lightning Storm is not guaranteed, so I put that in there as well. It's good for going second, where you can destroy your opponent's monsters and maybe their back row and be able to combo off. Cynet Mining lets us add a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from our deck to our hand and send one card to the graveyard. Really good one if you have Dotscaper in hand, but a lot of the time you're using it to search out Microcoder or Lady Debug, just to get us into our combo. Triple Tech Talents, good effect where it can draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at the hand. Simple, but effective. Cynet Storm. Cynet Storm is a bit of an OTK push enabler, and it's a kind of a fever dream, but it's also a cool little neat trick that if your opponent's not paying attention, it can also save your ass. So all link monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense, regardless, so long as they're linked to something else, so you can make their link monsters extra big. And if you take 2,000 more battle damage or effect damage, you can shuffle your extra deck and activate the top card. And if it's a Cyberse Link monster, special summon it. This will let us cheat out our Codetalker monsters in a pinch, or really just any of our monsters in the extra deck, with the exception of Light Dragon at Ignister. A lot of the time, that's just enough to keep you alive in a fight so you get a next turn. Cynet Optimization. If your Codetalker monster battles, your opponent cannot activate cards effects until the end of the damage step. Additionally, it also is an additional normal summon of Cyberse, but this does lock you into Cyberse. Doesn't really matter too much because we're playing nothing but Cyberse. Cynet Codec is our MVP card. You always want Cynet Codec on the field as much as possible, unless you're just trying to... It's our good combo enabler, and it's also our searcher. What Cynet Codec does is anytime a Cyberse or a Codetalker monster is summoned, we can target that Codetalker monster and add one Cyberse monster with the same attribute from your deck to your hand. It does Cyberse lock us, but that really doesn't matter too much, because it just continuously gives us searches. Recoded Alive allows us to banish a Codetalker monster in our graveyard, or just any link monster in our graveyard, and special summon one Codetalker monster from your extra deck. If you control no monsters in your extra monster zone, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one of your banished Codetalker monsters and special summon it. A lot of the time, you can set this card and let it get destroyed if you're going into your access code line. And then if your opponent somehow lives through your access code line, you can use Recoded's effect in graveyard to bring back one of the banished Cyberse that access code banished. Ice Dragon's Prison and Solemn Judgment are just are traps to help us keep us alive. Ice Dragon's Prisons will banish monsters from our opponent's field. It's really good to stop them from getting off, and Solemn Judgment does the same thing. Additionally, Cynet Conflict is just Solemn Judgment, but only if you control a Codetalker monster. It's pretty good, and it's actually better than Solemn Judgment, because as long as your opponent cannot activate a card or effects of cards with the same original name as that card. So if, for example, it's a card that can be activated multiple times per turn, you Cynet Conflict it, that's gone. Really good for stopping some Tri-Brigade stuff, and Eldritch from being so sticky. Light Dragon, now let's get into the extra deck. I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. Light Dragon at Ignister. 2 level 4 monsters can just pop a card on the field. Additionally, he can also protect our... he can protect our... Yeah, he can protect our Cyberse monsters from being destroyed. And he can also help us enable OTKs by helping summon another Link monster when any of our Cyberse monsters deal battle damage. Link Karibo. Link Karibo protects us from battle, helps us keep alive. Link Rebo protects us from traps. 2, Codetalker. He is really the one that gets the whole play started for the combo. And on top of that, you play 2 of him just in case the first one gets negated, so you can go into a second one. Codetalker Inverted is a light version. It will help us search light monsters in our combo, similar to Codetalker. Additionally, you could probably cut the Codetalker and replace it with another one, but for now, Codetalker Inverted do good things. Codetalker can also help protect monsters, and he's really kind of the go-to summon off of Recoded Alive. Codetalker, any monster he points to gains 500 attack and cannot be destroyed by card effects. He helps make our Codetalker, which is usually our ending board of Codetalker, Codetalker, and Codetalker, extra sticky to make it really hard to get over this boy. Codetalker is an extender and also protects if he is linked to another monster. The code cannot be targeted by any card effects. So with these 2 on the field, Codetalker becomes a very sticky boy. Firewall Dragon is a good turn 1 where we can bounce cards. Admittedly, I don't go into it enough, but we can bounce cards on the field from our and then return them to the hand. And if a monster is destroyed by battle or since the graveyard that's the firewall is pointing at, you can special summon a monster from your hand. Access code, because access code makes it so we can just OTK. Really easy to OTK with this. And then the Arrival Cyberse Adagnister. 3 different attributes. We have tons of attributes in this deck, and sometimes we just have extra monsters on the field. He is just a big ass. So long as you can get him with, even with just 3 attributes, he is a 3k beater that just is immune to all card effects, and he can be annoying. If you manage to do 4 or even 5, then he just sticks around and your opponent just kind of has to deal with it. So, let's go ahead and show this in game, shall we? Let's see you in the duel. Alright, so our opponent unfortunately won the die roll, and so we are going second. But there is plenty we can do by going second. Please do not just set 1 and pass. You're going to set 2 and pass? Alright, well now we can show you the wonderful power of the OTK Enabler. And since we already have Microcoder and Lady Debug in hand, we can really just go off to the races here. We are going to destroy his back row here, because I think that is his only form of interaction. And we're going to normal summon Lady Debug. Lady Debug will go ahead and search as an additional monster, and since we already have the Microcoder, I will go ahead and grab a backup Secretary. Now, using Codetalker and Lady Debug on the field, we can go into our Microcoder and Lady Debug, not Codetalker. We can go into our Codetalker, which will trigger Microcoder's effect, adding us our Cynet conflict, or our Cynet codec. Activate Cynet codec, and we're off to the races. We special summon backup Secretary, because it's an extender, and then we go into Codetalker. Codetalker gets us additional search off of this, which will allow us to add the... We'll actually add the launch commander because we already have code generator in hand. We'll activate the effect of Codetalker to bring out an additional Link monster, and then go into... actually activate the effect of Gachiri Adagnister targeting Codetalker. Gets an additional body on the field, but we're not going to use it quite yet. Now we are going to go into Codetalker using Codetalker and the code generator. Lots of triggers. Code generator will send a card. Cynet codec will add a win monster to our hand. And then Codetalker will make it so our opponent cannot summon somewhere. We're going to make it so they cannot summon there, as so long as Codetalker is on the field. we will go ahead and add Code Exporter. And then we will send Dot Scraper to the graveyard, activate the effect of Dot Scraper, and then use Code Exporter and Dot Scraper to go into a light monster. Codetalker inverted gets us an additional summon. We will search a light monster to add to hand, and then add an additional monster back to hand. We'll add the Lady Debug back to hand in case we need it for extension next turn, but I think this is the end of the game very easily here. Go ahead and add to hand Balancer Lord. Now we'll go ahead and summon the Balancer Lord in defense position, activate the effect of Balancer Lord, and summon out Nightmare Corruptor Lib. Unfortunately, we don't have a zone for Lib, but that doesn't matter too much, because now we can use Gachiri, Balancer Lord, and Shooting Code to go into a level 4, trigger our effects. We'll make it so Codetalker can't be affected, and we are not actually going to activate the effect of Lib, because there is no need to. Go ahead and add the Radiator to hand. Make Transcode immune to all card effects, but that's fine, because now this is the end of the game. Codetalker will be used as 3 materials with our Radiator. And then we will trigger Cynet Codec, targeting Access Codetalker, and then we'll do Access Codetalker second to chain block our codec so it cannot be negated. Additionally, we'll add a microcoder to hand for if we needed turns next turn, or plays next turn, but this is the end of the game. We will destroy their one monster. Keeper of the Shrine, huh? And a Crackdown. No need to activate the effect of Shooting Code. And that is the end of the game. As you can see, the deck is fairly competent in what it does, and so long as you can get to your extenders, you will be doing A-okay, even with 50 cards in the deck. That being said, though, I've been your host, GC64, and I'll see you next time, guys. Farewell.